Rumporter, bienvenidos de nuevo a esta serie de videos que hacemos con entrevistas de personajes famosos del mundo del ron y de la coctelería. Hoy estamos en FIBAR, el segundo día de FIBAR, y le hemos robado un par de minutos a David Wondrich, que es uno de los ponentes estrella de este congreso. Él es historiador de coctelería y de destilados. Le hemos robado 5 minutos que nos va a dar. Perdón, un poco estamos en el parking porque adentro en FIBAR hay mucho ruido, entonces bueno, perdón un poco por el atrezo, pero bueno, vamos a empezar. David, thanks for your time.
Okay, well, thank you. Hola, amigos. That's all my Spanish. No, almost all my Spanish.
Well, David, first of all, can you tell us a little bit what you think about FIBAR? Is it what you expected? Is it
no, it's cool. You've got people from all over Spain. You know, people from the region. Elegant bar show. The best food I've ever had at a bar show. So, you know, Spain, so you expect good things, and yes, you had good things. And yeah, it's great. It seems really good.
Well, you came here to talk about the history of rum, right?
Yeah.
So, when did you start to do research about the rum, the history of rum? Because you took many different topics. So
yeah, I started seriously looking into it really 10 years ago when I started writing my book Punch. And you need, you know, rum is part of the history of Punch, and it started to get very complicated, and it's only gotten more complicated since. But the history of rum is very interesting because it's the history of the New World. It's the history of trade and navigation, you know, people sailing. It's the Spanish and the Portuguese are hugely important in it. It's an Iberian history as much as it is anybody's. And so it's very cool.
So recently, when we talk about the history of rum, we usually think about Barbados. But
exactly.
Today you talk about that maybe distillation and sugar cane, they were united from so much time before.
It seems the evidence is hard. It's hard to put together, but it seems like they've been together distilling and sugarcane for at least 2,000 years. So that's a long time ago in India.
Yeah, that's what my next question about it.
Yeah.
You talk about India and 2,000 years ago. If someday we found proofs that this happens, can we talk about that rum is the first spirit in the world? The first one it was made?
You know, it may very well be.
Maybe.
It may be. You know, there are indications that people were distilling 6,000 years ago. We don't know what they were using, you know, to distill from. But rum is certainly, I think it was maybe the first distilling industry. You know, the first like commercial spirit, and the first one that got around, and it seems like that's like 2,000 years ago. So it's a long time ago.
Another tricky question for you.
Yeah, please.
So, sometimes here in Spain, because you know, when you talk to English people or people from the English world, they say always Barbados because it's the culture. But here in Spain, sometimes you can hear people saying, "Okay, Arabs they bring the distillation from the old world, and they also bring the sugar cane."
Yeah.
And we have Arabs here in Spain for so long time, almost 800 years. So is it possible that they distill here something similar than rum?
Yeah, it's very possible. You know, these are the questions that need to be answered. But for the longest time, they're not even being asked. They're being asked in Spain. They're not being asked in like sort of the global rum world. You know, so for me, it's like I think we need to like bring these questions forward because clearly this is a history that we don't know nearly enough about.
But is there any evidence right now that you can be tracking?
Very, very little because I'm only at the beginning of like researching this stuff. You know, there's so much to dig into, and I need people who know more than I do, who know the languages that I don't know, and things like that.
Is there more people doing research about this history of rum?
This part, not so much. That's why I wanted to come and talk about it. I wanted to see if I could get it out there a little more so people start to pay attention.
Going back to the Caribbean,
yeah.
Always we talk about Barbados, but recently I read an article from Marco Perini that he said something about St. Christoph Island, which is now St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah.
He talked something about the new record that they said something about the Melbourne.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, 5 years before.
Yeah, that's quite possible. Yeah, that's quite possible. You know, I have to look at it, but you know, I'm kind of focused a little bit further back right now.
Okay.
But you know, there are other bits in the Caribbean that are earlier. But I think Barbados was the focus because the English were willing to use rum to make money, so they could sell it and they exported it because they had an export market in North America, and nobody else had an export market for this stuff.
And usually, also, if you can explain to our viewers about the triangle of Rome, slaves, and
that starts pretty early on. Is where you would take rum from New England to Africa. Because in New England they made a lot of rum with molasses from the Caribbean. So you take the rum from New England to Africa, you buy people, which is just horrible, and then you take them over to the Caribbean and you sell them, anybody who survived, which is often not very many, and then you take that money and you buy a lot of molasses and rum and you bring it up to New England and sell it again, and then the molasses, they make bad rum in New England. They drink the good rum from the Caribbean and sell the bad rum to Africa. And that's how it works.
So right now it's really cold outside.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take too much of your time. Just the last tricky question.
Please.
What type of rum is your favorite rum? Type. I'm talking about type. Not
Yeah. I like the really kind of funky English style punch rums because I drink a lot of punch. So there's like Jamaican cocktail rums. But I also love a really good Cuban rum because the daiquiri is my summer drink, and you need a good flavorful Cuban rum. So Spanish style and English style. I also like a tea punch, so I like the French style too.
So all of the rum.
Yeah, you know, I just like rum.
Why choose one?
Why choose one? They're all good.
Okay, good. Just the last thing for
please.
Where we can find your book about the punch.
Punch. My book is Punch, published by Penguin in the U.S. Available from Cocktail Kingdom worldwide. They sell it, and they're a great site. So cocktailkingdom.com, and they will send you a copy of my book.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
again.
Oh, my pleasure.